How's it going, y'all? Welcome to Dinkytown. Actually, a very cool view of downtown Minneapolis right back there. Dinkytown is a sub-neighborhood within the community of Marcy-Holmes. Marcy-Holmes is for sure, without a doubt, the sort of U of M student capital of Minnesota. It's a very cool neighborhood. Excited to share it with you. Let's go. My name is Jesse Lynch, and I run the hardest working real estate team in the game. We're called To the Twin Cities, and you can check out our website, tothetwincities.com. But this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to call home, a place to land here in the beautiful Twin Cities of Minnesota. And that's whether you're just buying a house for the first time or relocating here from a different city, state, country, planet, dimension, whatever it is. First-time home buyers and relocations, that's what we do. That's what we do better than anybody else. So if either of those two things appeal to you, then do me a favor, do yourself a favor, subscribe to this channel and click the bell to get notified so you can see every time we put out videos just like this one we are doing today. And as always, if you are thinking about moving here, get a hold of us and let us make it as easy as possible on you. You can go to our website, tothetwincities.com, or shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. This is what we do, and this is what we do better than anybody else. And today's video is a virtual tour of Marcy-Holmes, a neighborhood in Minneapolis, probably best known for its proximity to the U of M. It's very much a student hub, very, very slick access to, everything the U of M is doing. And I'm excited to share it with you. I'm gonna go meet up with Alex from the team who lives in Marcy-Holmes right now. Let's go.
What's going on, guys? Right now we're on Southeast Main Street over in St. Anthony. This is kind of the main street and strip through St. Anthony. Right over there is the Stone Arch Bridge, and between here and the Stone Arch, this is probably one of the most touristy areas in Minneapolis.
For sure, old school, like brick paved street, and obviously like the Stone Arch Bridge is beautiful. It's one of the coolest views of downtown there is. And this place more and more sort of turning into high-end apartment condos, etc. But there's still a ton of history. Technically, the park right here is called Father Hennepin Bluff Park, I think. I think I say that wrong every time I say it.
I think it's right.
Okay.
So where we are, and actually where I live, is the Marcy-Holmes area, which encompasses St. Anthony, Maine, but also extends east over into Dinkytown area, which is kind of the college life of Minnesota.
Yeah, I think most people think of west of 35W as Marcy-Holmes and east of 35W as Dinkytown, but technically Dinkytown is within Marcy-Holmes. I don't know why, but that's how it is. And so geographically speaking, this Marcy-Holmes neighborhood is fundamentally just to the north of downtown, just across the river. So the southern border is the Mississippi River and downtown. The northern border is basically railroad tracks and the Beltrami and Como neighborhoods, respectively, on either side of 35W. To the east, you basically have the University of Minnesota campus is sort of the cutoff, and then to the west is Central Ave, where I think we'll be a little bit later from now. Tons of restaurants and shops, kind of like the commercial, core of this area, maybe one of two commercial cores of the Marcy-Holmes area. You're 2-minute walk from downtown Minneapolis from right here. You're 15 minutes to downtown St. Paul, and maybe 20-25 minutes to the airport.
Marcy-Holmes is known for its student housing, especially in Dinkytown. It's pretty much all rentals and commercial buildings, but there are a lot of single family and multi-family homes in Marcy-Holmes that aren't necessarily in Dinkytown, but still have great student rentals.
Yeah, it's definitely renter heavy, definitely student rental heavy for sure. This strip right here, not so much. This is more expensive than, and some of these have such crazy cool views that it's not really going to be student at all, and it's typically going to be more just like owner-occupied condos and such. And then I think really in general, a lot of the people that we help that are looking to buy, right? Again, we're realtors, we help people buy. So they're not trying to rent where there's tons of rentals here, they're trying to buy. And so then where are they trying to buy? Along this strip, very common. Along Central, very common. And sort of, I don't know, if you take a gradient of Central and Southeast Maine and sort of head northeast, it probably gets more and more renter dense the closer you get to the college.
That said, we've actually helped quite a few landlords buy single family homes and multifamily homes in the Marcy-Holmes area for the intention of having a rental property.
Yeah, do we look so windblown, by the way? The wind is just coming straight at us. And yeah, the numbers can work out really well for landlords in this area. Median sale price is $453, but that's fairly skewed. That's $1,000, $453,000, sorry. That's fairly skewed though by condos and the fact that there are some very, very expensive condos here. As you get into the single family home, it's going to be cheaper than that on average. And the duplex, triplex, fourplex situation probably could be even more expensive. A lot of the rentals here are going to be by the room, sort of, priced by the room, where it's, what, $600-700 per room, something like that. If it's a 2-bedroom, 14, does that make sense?
You're not necessarily gonna get a bedroom rental, but rentals are priced by the room. And on average, one is about $700. So if it's a 4-bedroom, it'd be closer to like $2,800 total rent.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case for a lot of the sort of like college rentals in general, is they know it's not gonna be like one person renting a 4-bedroom, it's gonna be 4 people or more renting a 4-bedroom. And so they price it out like, well, how many people can we cram in here? They're willing to pay $700 a month. So yeah, how much can we get out of it? Depending on how new it is, right? A building like this, which actually I don't even know if it's condos or apartments, would be more expensive per room than, a 1920s duplex with 10 bedrooms total.
The public schools around Marcy-Holmes are only going to be so-so. If you look at niche.com and some other websites, they're generally rated C+ or C ratings on there.
Yeah, just kind of, mediocre for the city. Again, it's one of those areas where it's very, very dense. It's condo, it's renter heavy, it's student housing. That's at the, University of Minnesota. Very good school. And probably serves more residents of, for sure, this area than any other school. So yeah, that is kind of what it's about. You can tell that that's where the tax dollars are going to a lifestyle that suits the residents, the student population and such, or the sort of like urban cosmopolitan population that you see here. There is like a wide variety of people who live in this area.
Yeah, I've had friends that have lived in Dinkytown and post-college kind of migrate more west toward the St. Anthony, Maine area and still live in Marcy-Holmes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's kind of like what you know, it's what you're familiar with. It has, a lot of really great, restaurants and shops and that kind of thing. Pretty convenient, but still kind of hip and happening and, I don't know, vibrant. But all right, we're actually going to hop over, I think, to Central, which is the western border. We're going to talk through some pros and cons of living in this area from Alex, who actually lives in this area. Right now we are at Hennepin, which is kind of this diagonal street right here, and Central is, I guess, the other diagonal street. And Central, again, western border of the Marcy-Holmes neighborhood. Hennepin is very much a very main road, in Marcy-Holmes and really in all of Minneapolis. Probably one of the, I don't know, most traveled roads in the cities. But this is kind of the commercial core, generally close to the commercial core of the Marcy-Holmes neighborhood. That way there's like some of the conveniences that if they weren't here, it wouldn't be, boy, it'd really be lacking conveniences. Like the Lunds or is it Lunds and Byerly's?
Lunds, Byerly's.
If that wasn't there, it'd be like, well, okay, where do you get any groceries, you know?
But gas station right over here.
Yeah, and then there's the Holiday gas station right here, which is like one of only a couple gas stations. But anyhow, we're talking pros and cons of living in Marcy-Holmes. Alex lives here. What's your first pro?
I would say it's very walkable. I mean, it's so centrally located where if you're gonna go work in the city, it's like we said earlier, a 15-minute walk or, you know, whatever. And if you are a student, it's like a 20-minute walk. So very walkable. I mean, there's scooters and bikes everywhere, so you can get to where you need super fast. And generally speaking, transportation in the area is excellent. The bus system is great, and there are a lot of university bus stops in the Dinkytown area of Marcy-Holmes as well.
So yeah, I would say all of that. The public transportation is huge here. It's close to downtown, but it's really just central to the whole metro. As real estate agents, like living accessible to everything and almost equally accessible to everywhere in the metro is super, super nice. And there's very few spots that are quite as central as Marcy-Holmes. Downtown East might be another one, but ultimately just so central to everything here. I think another pro for me is just really good highway access. You have, I mean, you're so close to 35W, which also you're very close to 94. So because it's central, but it's also just really easy to hop on the highway and sort of get out of Dodge, you know, if you have to, I guess. That said, there are some cons that apply to this. We'll get to that in a second. It's sort of a double-edged sword as far as transportation goes here. I think we just passed Barasa, and I think that's another pro for me, is you have really good access to great restaurants, bars.
Rusty Taco too.
Rusty Taco, we walked right by that. Absolutely. And then up and down Central, tons of really good food. Some of the best food in the Twin Cities is on Central. You have really good access to it. And then Dinkytown has, you know, cool bars, shops, etc.
A lot of cool cafes.
Yeah.
There's one right off of University, Alma Cafe.
Yeah, almost very
close
cool.
to St. Anthony, Maine.
Yep. Good, yeah, really good coffee there, and good food as well. Kind of unexpectedly good.
Yeah, there are plenty of beautiful outdoor spaces in Marcy-Holmes. I mean, by Stone Arch Bridge, Father Hennepin Park. If you're looking for that hipster feel, just nice outdoor spaces and parks and whatnot, it's Marcy-Holmes. That's where it's happening.
Absolutely. That's, again, that spot down by St. Anthony, Maine. It's just such like an iconic spot and just really honestly beautiful. It's like anybody who's not from here who goes there is like, oh yeah, this is kind of a special little area. And I think last pro I'm gonna say is just basically that it's vibrant, right? There's like a heartbeat to the area.
It's a great energy.
Yeah, there's just people all the time out and about. Obviously, you know, it's student-y, it's college-y, but it's like, it's happening, stuff's moving around, people are doing stuff. And yeah, I like that. I think that's really nice to see. Which actually brings me to the first con, which is that it's really busy. And which is basically the same thing. Let's turn this way. It's really busy and chaotic at times.
Yeah, honestly, when you talk about chaos, 4th Street and University are some of the craziest streets. I mean, in Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
In Minnesota. And one of the things that bothers me the most is the street parking. You know, it can get very crowded, but they design it in a way where they don't have enough space in between taking a left turn or right turn. So, you know, if you're taking a left turn on the 4th University, you often cannot see the oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
And so you kind of have to take a leap of faith.
It's truly, you're
every
just,
day.
Here we go. Yeah. That is quite nerve-wracking. I even drive a truck, and it's still, you're like, man, I can't tell if somebody's coming. Yeah, it would be a pretty simple solution. Maybe they don't do that because, I don't know, there's not enough street parking, and that provides, you know, 2 to 8 more spots per street or something like that.
And on that note, the street parking in the winter can be a nightmare.
Yeah.
The snow emergencies can, you know, happen overnight, and you'll have like less than 24 hours to move your car, and then you have hundreds of cars moving to one part of one neighborhood or one street, and it's just chaos.
Yeah, it's not the most ideal place to have a car.
No.
You know, it's a good thing there's good public transportation, because I think a lot of people probably just choose to just skip the car entirely.
Absolutely.
And thank God. You know, they need a parking ramp or something to accommodate it. But yeah, I think, you know, another con that is kind of obvious to me, this isn't why anybody is living in Marcy-Holmes, but there's not that many suburban conveniences. Like the stores, you're sort of like go-tos, there's just not that many.
Right. I think it's designed to be more walkable. I mean, in Dinkytown, there's a small Target. There's a CVS on the other side of Marcy-Holmes. But yeah, I mean, if you're going to a big Target or any kind of big commercial store, you're going to be driving to an outside area like Roseville.
Yeah, so the Northeast Target, the Quarry, I guess that's probably most of your conveniences. Or you're going to downtown. But with all that said, parking sucks. A lot of people are going to want to skip a car, and so then, okay, well, how do you get to those things? You know, that is a kind of an annoying thing. But yeah, luckily there's the smaller Target and all that.
I think another con for me, it derives from the fact that there are so many renters in Marcy-Holmes. I believe the ratio is like 92% to 8% renters to homeowners.
Yeah.
And because of that, there is kind of a lack in curb appeal. I mean, with renters, people are not really taking care of their property, and you'll see trash and garbage out, especially on game days for the university, but they just don't take care of it as much. And so, you know, you're driving around, it's not the prettiest thing to look at, but still the buildings are beautiful.
Yeah, there is some very cool architecture and some really cool history. But yeah, you know, it's a bit transient, and it's also vibrant in almost like a party way, you know, where you're just gonna have some pretty messy moments. That said, everywhere we walked so far, pretty good, pretty clean, you know. But yeah, you're gonna see some moments of dinge here more than, you know, some other areas. But again, that's not really why you're moving here. You're moving here because it's so central to everything. It's vibrant, and you're just, you know, you're like kind of in the thick of it.
Definitely. And I think the last con for me would be that at any given time, there really isn't that many homes on the market. Again, it's a very renter dense area, and the homes that do get listed are typically listed in a smaller window because school starts in the fall. They're usually listed in summer.
Yeah, I mean, or they're, you know, or maybe they're listed in the spring with like, hey, you can't take possession until a certain time or whatever. But this is so targeted and so sort of like gobbled up by investors, again, because that's just like kind of what the point is. You know, that's like what these properties seem to be intended for a lot of the time. But yeah, I think that's a pretty good picture of like the pros and cons, and, you know, even some of the stuff that we rarely talk about because I just wouldn't think about it, like how wild turning off of one of these side streets onto 4th University is. It's crazy. And yeah, you know, it's because he obviously deals with it on the day-to-day. So, all right, I think we're gonna pop over somewhere else, talk through these sort of for fans of the section.
On the northern kind of border of Marcy-Holmes. There's this really cool cider company up here in Minneapolis. I think it's called Minneapolis Cider Company, but really cool brewery. My friends and I, since we live in Marcy-Holmes, walk over here all the time. Again, just touch on that very walkable aspect. You can literally walk a couple blocks back here and you're at a really great brewery. It's all cider, and they actually have pickleball inside, which is kind of crazy.
I love that, yeah. This whole area is pretty cool.
It is. It used to be more of kind of an industrial warehouse area, but see a lot of these different companies coming in and doing a brewery or a cool little coffee shop. And there's actually a lot of commercial development. I think that apartment over there went up a year or two ago. So there's a lot of development in this area. It's up and coming.
Yeah, I'm seeing the sidecar right there. That's actually a photo and video studio. Fun fact. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see kind of what they're turning this area into. Almost taking a note from Northeast Minneapolis, taking this sort of warehouse vibe and, I don't know, making it cool, you know? Before we dive into this next section, which if you watch these videos, you know that we call the For Fans of section, then we're gonna have to go single file here. But before I do get into that section, I would just like to say, if you are thinking about moving here, get a hold of us and we will crush it for you. This is what we do. It's what we do better than anybody else. So you can go to our website, tothetwincities.com. We have a contact form there that you can fill out in moments, or you can shoot us an email directly to info@tothetwincities.com. They lead to the same inbox. So, you know, whatever. It's up to you. Do what you want. It's your life. But get a hold of us. You'll be glad you did. So let's dive into the For Fans of section, which is to say, if you like what you see here, if this is up your alley, then here are some other areas that you should check out because for whatever reason, they vibe similarly, you know? What do you got?
Number one would be Como, and this is Minneapolis Como neighborhood, not to be mistaken with Como Park,
Yes.
which is in St. Paul.
Yes.
But very similar in terms of neighborhoods and also very renter heavy. A little bit quieter.
Yeah.
I would say it's not so bustling like, you know, closer into Dinkytown, MARCY-HOLMES, St. Anthony, Maine. A little bit quieter, but still a very similar feel in terms of walkability to nearby, you know, stores and coffee shops. And yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I think that's super legitimate and maybe not quite as wild and chaotic, you know, in general. I think the next For Fans of for me is just gonna be Northeast. Again, you know, Como is contiguous on the north end of this MARCY-HOLMES neighborhood. Northeast is contiguous on kind of the west and north end of here as well. And they have a lot in common. For one, this sort of industrial spot, very northeasty, if that makes sense, but has a lot of the sort of like access to downtown and sort of the, I don't know, vibrancy of this MARCY-HOLMES neighborhood while having maybe a little bit more of a residential, quite a bit slower moving and, I don't know, a little more peaceful than here.
Third, I would say Hamlin Midway area, kind of even closer to Snelling.
Yep.
And they're very similar in terms of walkability to nearby shops, coffee shops, restaurants. Similar neighborhoods, probably quite a few more homeowners in the Hamlin Midway area than in MARCY-HOLMES. And again, that's just because you know, MARCY-HOLMES is appealing to kind of the student base and the student renters. There is Hamlin University by Hamlin Midway, but again, smaller schools, so there are going to be more homeowners. They take care of their yards and their properties a little bit more than churches do.
Yeah, and similarly, like, I think has like a very busy district. Like here it's University and 4th, there it's actually University. So it's the same university, just keeps going, and it's pretty chaotic there as well. Like University and Snelling, pretty chaotic little area, but walkable. You have access to, you know, a decent amount of amenities, some cool sort of shops and cafes, but still not exactly like the most like urban bumping spot in all of the cities.
Right.
I think for me, next up, I would say downtown. I used to live in downtown East, recently moved. Downtown East, very close, just geographically, to the MARCY-HOLMES area. Similar in its sort of centralness, but a bit more high end and way more condo heavy, less single, well, basically no single family homes. And downtown East, as well as I would say North Loop, just in its sort of walkability and its sort of like busyness, the hustle and bustle, those are places that you'll find that, unlike some other areas. Those are just a couple places in downtown that are gonna have that hustle and bustle like what you have here in MARCY-HOLMES.
Last one for me, I'd throw Uptown into that mix as well.
Yeah.
Definitely high energy, very bustling, but a lot bigger as well. I mean, MARCY-HOLMES, depending on where you are, you might have walkability to just like 1 or 2 cool shops or stores. but Uptown obviously a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Still a lot of renters over there, but quite a few more homeowners.
Yeah, that sort of starts to balance out a little bit more than here. I think a fairly common sort of a trend is to move from Marcy-Holmes or Dinkytown into Uptown.
Right.
You know, that's a migratory pattern.
I think people like that kind of hipster feel of different parts of Marcy-Holmes, especially St. Anthony, Maine. But Uptown kind of offers that mecca of that hipster lifestyle.
Absolutely. The most walkable neighborhood, in my opinion, in all of the Twin Cities is Uptown, or what's also known as Calhoun Isles. We have a walkability video, basically like best walkable neighborhoods. Check that out. It's basically a feature-length film though, so prepare yourself to watch a really long video.
Make some popcorn.
Yeah, I think last spot for me that feels at all like this is West 7th in St. Paul. Again, it has some of this sort of like industrial, you know, whatever, turned more residential, turned kind of hip. And it has like a little bit of a vibrancy, a little bit of a hustle and bustle, while also having really nice housing stock. It's way more single family home-ish over there, whereas here is more apartments, more, you know, 5+ unit buildings. And West 7th is just gonna be more single family based with a couple sort of apartments available to you. West 7th also makes the sort of up-and-comers list, so watch that video as well. And that's it. Thanks for watching. As always, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified so you can see when we put out these tremendous videos. Just kind of kidding. But yeah, appreciate you watching. Give the video a thumbs up. Say what's up to Alex in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
Bye-bye.